What is up, guys? Eric here from EVM Productions, here with a random video because there's not a lot going on in the UFC. Albeit, before I get into the topic today, let me think about all of the topics that I could talk about for future reference, because it really does feel like it's moving slow and then it's moving very fast with the news in the UFC these days. And also, a lack of promotion is why we don't steadily get more fun news, fun situations, etc. Like, I saw Lucas Tracy talking about, well, okay, wait, I'm going to pause right there because that is part of today's topic. Anyway, Hamzat versus Nasruddin Imavov seems to be in the works, which is the rightful #1 contender, if I'm not mistaken. I know Fluffy Hernandez and Brendan Allen, Rene the Ritter, one of those fights was supposed to happen, fell out. Sorry guys, the last few weeks have been a whirlwind for me. Anyhow, that happened. Ilya Topuria talking about him going and fighting Crawford, which is stupid. Sorry, I know Ilya can fight, he can box, etc., but that's a stupid idea. What else? You see, sparse. The Rajah Jackson situation, I'll make an update video on that because the man got arrested finally, but that's cool. You see, it's rough. And I don't watch the Dana White's Contender Series right now, so I don't keep up fully with that. I just see some of the highlights. It's fine. I always say I like seeing these guys when they're in the UFC finally. I understand some people like to see the origin story, etc., but nah. What else? There is more, I'm just not getting to it. It's like blank. I'm seeing wool in front of my eyes. Anyway, let's talk about the main topic right now. So, Lucas Tracy made a video about this, but it's more so me following up on a video I made at the time. So, a few weeks before the fight with, well, Alex Pereira's fight versus Magomed Ankaleav, I made a video where I said, we're all speculating and worrying if Alex is actually doing enough training for Magomed Ankaleav. Like, is he underestimating him, etc.? And after his performance, obviously, I was worried that a lot of people would climb onto this and say, yes, no, he wasn't prepared, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I also changed my mind the week before the fight, where I saw Pereira training, etc. And Lucas went back on his Instagram and saw, he showcased that indeed Pereira was training. What was bothering me is he wasn't doing a lot of anti-wrestling. And I mentioned this as well, and my video, I said I'm not too worried, but this is still a thing to think about. And funny enough, a lot of stuff has come out where Pereira said he did not train as much. A lot of trainers have said it seemed like he wasn't training as much. He wasn't taking him as seriously. And it showed in the performance. Now, a lot of us also feels that age has been a problem. Now, I'm going to mention it right now. I've been worried about Alex Pereira's age and his wear and tear, etc. Like, when I saw a few of his fights before this one. Sorry, I'm hearing a bee. Anyway, Mr. B, just don't come near me. Alright, so I saw Alex Pereira slow down already in his previous fights. Most people will say, nah, he looked the same. But if you go look at him at 185 and then initial fights at 205, he looks a lot slower. He looks like he takes punches less good. Like, his chin is slowly cracking. And funny enough, he got dropped in the Magomed Ankalaev fight. He got hurt a few times versus Khalil. The first Yuri fight was a bit more closer. Same thing. Like, the point is, his chin durability doesn't seem as strong. And I think it was post-Izzy loss. And then from there, it recovered a bit because of the weight gain, blah, blah, blah. But it does seem to be like a trend. Then his speed. Last thing to go will be his power. But why didn't he even slightly bother Ankaleav, even with his hands? When he landed, by the way. Why? You see, it's all of the small stuff. And then also his build, his physical build. So let me explain. So you guys can see my left forearm. There's a little bit of definition there. But you see, it's big enough, but it's a little bit, how can I say, rounded off. Rounded off. It's, in bodybuilder terms, I would say flabby. Then compare it to my right arm. You see, you can see all of the muscles. I have decent forearms and genetics. Now, compare that to the other arm. You see, it's a big difference. It's a giant difference, in fact, when you compare them. You see, the definition difference is massive. Now, reason why is this is my lead drumming hand, blah, blah, blah. And also just genetics, etc. But that roundedness would show that you have a bit more body fat, a lot more water, and less muscle there. Because obviously, one arm is usually 2 centimeters, an inch bigger than the other. That's the biggest variation you're allowed to have. And also, clearly I'm carrying a lot more fat somehow on this arm, but that's because this one has more muscle mass and less fat. You see, just the main point is, if you are very fit for fight, you're very lean. You're very lean. Your whole body looks lean. Your skin tone looks good, etc. And in the last fight, Pereira looked the same size as he usually is, but just a little bit flabby, watery. It looked like my bicep area right now here, not like my forearms. And compared to his previous fights, he even looked different. And I was like, this is weird. Now that's another sign as well of your body just saying, like, I don't do this fighting thing anymore. The same thing happened with Tony Ferguson. If you guys go look, he started looking very flat, straightforward, flat, and a little bit more filled out at different weight classes, etc. And the reason why is muscle density is going down. The older you get past 30, your muscle degradation sets in. And I think possibly that is why Pereira didn't do as well outside of his skills. His skills definitely was not up to par to keep Ankaleav off of him. But definitely the secondary part is his physical being. And him not training would fit perfectly with that. Perfect with that narrative. So I was just like, Lucas kind of is pointing out the thing that I thought people would jump on a bit more, but they didn't. In fact, they just ragged on Alex Pereira and was like his ass because of his bad wrestling. Meanwhile, he wasn't really taken down that much, yada yada yada. It was just more so he couldn't fire off effective striking, etc. Now, he can change his game plan a lot, and apparently he's training a lot more for this fight. So what I think will happen is we'll see a better Pereira, but is it better to the degree where he can overcome Ankaleav's skill set? That's the problem. So even if he's shredded, strong, big, everything, will the skills that really pay the bills do its thing? I'm not so sure. I do think there's a possibility, but I'm not so sure. So yeah, I think you guys are seeing who I'm leaning towards already, and I'll make a video about who I pick nearer to the fight. I could have sworn this weekend is a UFC event as well. I need to go check. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. I agree with Lucas that something was up, and something is up, but I think it's more so age, and then his training, lack of training, and lastly, the skill set is the top of the king, like top of the heap there. Skills come first, these other things are second. So yeah, cheers guys.